I'm recording. Okay, welcome everyone to this week's segment of Dr. B's Thursday Thoughts. We have a special treat for you today, especially for those college students that are facing an online learning environment for the fall of 2020 and maybe even for the foreseeable future. So I have a special guest with me this evening that I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. But before we do that, as I do on every Dr. B's Thursday Thoughts, this is being recorded and it is on Facebook Live right now. So I just need a thumbs up that that's okay with you. Just give me a thumbs up. Thank you very much. And then if you would introduce yourself and tell us about yourself, and then tell us why this topic is important to you.
Okay, good evening, nephew. I'm the Director of Information Systems at St. Augustine High School, as well as I'm an adjunct professor at Delgado Community College. Since March, this online learning has been a lot of curiosity, stressfulness for a lot of students, not only on the college level, but from pre-K through 12 as well. Many students are not, as well as teachers and parents, are not used to being online to do classes, talk to teachers, students talking to their teachers, parents the same way. And it gets stressful because especially when a parent is not used to this and they have to stay home, monitor their child and make sure they're online and doing their work, all parties becomes very stressful. So I'm just here tonight to try to answer any questions and give some helpful tips on how to make this a lot easier for everyone.
Yes, thank you. And you are right about that. So I think it's stressful, like you said, to parents of K-12 kids, and it's definitely been stressful to college students as well. And so although like online learning has been around a while, and I think like there are a number of different terminologies used, and maybe that has even been stressing people out. So in a nutshell, like what is this concept of online learning, also known as virtual learning, also known as distance learning? Give us what all that is in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, it's basically going to class anywhere. For example, it's basically, even though it's not the same, so I'm just going to put that right out there from the beginning. It's like being in a classroom with a teacher, but except you're in the comfort of your home. You might be sitting in a park, you might be in a coffee house, etc. This virtual learning can happen in many ways. It can be live interaction, like as of right now, myself and Dr. Bayham is doing in this live stream, or it could be taped and the student can go back and review what the teacher taught. It's just could be done any type of way. Or it could be self-guided, self-directed. Depending on what level you are in, depends on what type of virtual learning that you will receive. Parents, if your child is from pre-K through 12, especially from that middle school on to 12th grade, it's going to be like what you see right now, virtual learning with a teacher online. Maybe a senior in high school might be doing a dual enrollment class. They might have a little self-directed, self-guided course where they just interact with the teacher and they submit their assignments. College level, depending, it can be recorded classes, live classes, or self-guided, making sure that you turning your work by due dates that's listed on the syllabus or on the learning management system, or LMS as it's called sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so I know that you teach on the college level also. And one thing that I have been hearing so much of, I think just because I'm in education and I am a mom of a college student and I'm in a lot of those Facebook groups. I've been hearing a lot of people say, even parents of K-12 kids have been saying this, like, why am I still going to pay this amount of tuition or whatever it is when he or she is going to be going to school online? Um, so talk a little bit about, like, what are some of the struggles, I guess, and maybe that's why they're saying it. I know there's this thing of synchronous versus asynchronous learning, but
Mm-hmm.
talk about some of the struggles that students face in online learning and how they can overcome it.
One is you have to be self-disciplined. You have to keep in your mind, I have to be to school on time, which in this environment, I have to sign in by a certain time or I am marked late or absent from the class. You have to have that self-discipline. This is a perfect training ground for high school students to get ready for college. Because as you know, being in college, you have nobody to tell you, get to class on time, turn your assignments in on time. This is a perfect training for those students to be able to practice self-discipline, to log into class on time, submit their assignments on time via the website or via Dropbox or Google Meet, Google Classroom, etc. I'm sorry, not Google Meet, that's a video, but Google Classroom. Um, you have to be self-disciplined. You have to find um, a room or an area wherever you at to where it's going to be very quiet that you can study and you can do your work. Not in your bedroom where you have access to your Xbox, your PlayStation, your other devices, whatever. You have to be disciplined. You have to have that quiet time. Um, you also just have to be what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline, time management.
Mm.
You have to be able to manage your time. Going back to college again, there's nobody there holding your hand telling you go to class. Now, I know high school and, well, pre-K through 12 is different from college. But if you're in that high school setting, those high schools is preparing you for college. And in college, you don't go to school from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. like you do in high school. You might have a class for 9 o'clock in the morning and then don't have another class until 12. What do you do in that time frame? If you have to study, fine. If you have to go do work study in a high school, in this environment on those grade levels, below 12 and below, this is the time to sit down there and practice self-discipline, to be able to say, okay, I have this assignment to do. When I stop my classes at the end of the day, I know I don't have extracurricular activities. Do my homework from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Do my homework that day. Turn it in. If I have questions, be able to sit down there, do in class or after class, email the teacher with those questions. A teacher, even if in a face-to-face environment, a teacher can only do so much and ask the student, do they know?
Mm-hmm.
What do you need help with? Do you understand the concept? In this environment, in this virtual environment, it may help kids to understand the subject better because they can send a message to the teacher privately. Sometimes I know I use Zoom at Delgado. Instead of letting the whole class see the question, they'll send me a private message through the chat, and I'll see it and look at it and say, okay, have a question on the floor about XYZ. I go through it again. Does everybody else have the same question or same concerns? And I think that'll help students out a lot because, you know, when you're in a classroom, people have this mystique about themselves. If I ask a question, it might sound stupid. You as an educator know there's no such thing as a dumb or stupid question. If you don't know, you don't understand, now is the chance to ask that question. Even virtually, you have a lot of tools that you can help students with. In a face-to-face environment, especially if a student has a computer, math, for example, if you have a tablet, like I'm on my Microsoft Surface right now, I can actually do a math problem. And if the teacher wants to see how I work it out or where my problem is, I can share my screen with the teacher and actually see what's going on. What they can also do is they can take that student's problem where they messing up at, and they everybody else not embarrassed, but to say, hey, look, he did everything right to this point, and I notice everybody else is having that same problem, so we're going to pick up the problem from this point. That example with math. With English, the same thing. We can be typing a paper. I can go click on your screen, Dr. B, to look at your paper to see where you at. Or you can be sharing it with me through Google Docs, and I can see, okay, you have these mistakes. I can correct them, and the student sees the corrections I made, and they can understand what's going on. Science, same thing like math with chemistry. When you're working on balancing equations, that's a lot of math, and sometimes if you don't balance it right or you don't understand where you're going wrong, you can share that, or you can screenshot it, send it to your teacher. It's all in all parties. It's all about how do you embrace it, how do you use it, and it's everybody being on the same page. Yes, this is a very difficult and trying time for everybody. I know for parents, it's a stress because they have to make a decision. Do they send their child or children to school while they go to work? Because they don't have the option of staying home and working and monitor their child, or school them, or just
Right. And so I'm glad you're bringing that up because so recently there have been a lot of posts, articles about college students just sitting out a semester. So you're a college professor. Why would I think I'm just having difficulty because I'm an educator, but why would someone want to sit out as opposed to learning online and taking advantage of all of the things that you just mentioned that they wouldn't have advantage of in a live classroom?
as an educator and as a parent, I've seen all sides of it. As an educator, it's disappointing because yes, somebody can take advantage of learning online and be able to use all the resources and then some from what they don't have in a classroom. But for a student not to register or not to enroll in school, it's because, and it's not a knock against them, they are not comfortable with learning online. It's not that they don't have the discipline, it's not they don't have the desire not to do it, they don't feel comfortable. And that's a feeling that really does, exist right now. Even I know some former students of mine via high school and Delgado. They have contacted me. Hey, look, I registered for your class last semester. I'm not comfortable, and I sat down, and talked to them. I had one student. This semester, I taught for the whole this year at Delgado. He went back to school to get a degree to help him advance at his job. He said he did not want to take online classes because he was not comfortable. Mid mid spring semester, what happens? We put a hold on education so where we can get everything ready to go virtually. First person I contacted was that student, and I asked him, "Are you comfortable? Will you be comfortable to finish out these last 9 weeks?" I said, "It's not forcing you. I mean, I've emailed you what the college has said they're gonna do. It's up to you. I'm reaching out to you because I know we had this conversation." He said, "For your class, I will try it," because he said he just had a big anxiety about it, him just being online. But as we went week by week, as we started back up, doing the Zoom classes, me demonstrating um, the concepts in class, and sometimes it's hard to do that online with certain classes, but I was able to do it. And right after exams, I got a text message from him because to make it easy, I gave him my cell phone number in case they had questions and they didn't want to wait for an email. He said, "Thank you. You've shown how virtual learning can be easy. It also taught me how to be most self-disciplined in doing my work." He said that was the biggest thing. Being at home with the distraction of kids, the family, and him trying to sit down there and do his own classwork. He understands now. He has a better understanding of what virtual learning is and a better appreciation of it. So everybody's different. If they have that anxiety, they rather do face to face, because that discipline is still there. Because even though you still have a syllabus online to do your classes, you might have that professor that said, "Don't forget, you have a paper due on such and such a day," and so forth. Sometimes virtually you don't get that. If you don't set your calendar reminders, which I highly recommend anybody in a virtual environment do, set up a Google Calendar to give you alerts. Hey, this is such and such a day. Have reminders out there. Hey, you just do it 4 days. Delgado uses Canvas. Canvas has a mobile app. If any of your learning management system, LMS, as I said earlier, apps, please download it. That helped me out a lot as an instructor because I was getting alerts when students was turning in turning in assignments or emails to Canvas, and my phone would beep, and I'm like, okay, the student is asking for help, or they're saying, okay, something happened. What can I do? Take advantage of those technology helpfulness that's out there, because everybody has an app, but use the apps that's made with education. It's very helpful. Like I said, we push that at Delgado using those apps to help the students out, and a lot of them are appreciative because, like you said, with the time management, even the ability to submit assignments if they have to via that app, or just to see assignments was posted on the class for that day, is very helpful.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question. So I know you mentioned Google Calendar, that Canvas has an app. I think I forgot about that. I'll be downloading that when we get off this call.
Okay.
And so aside from the app that your particular college is using, definitely an advocate of using Google Calendar, setting reminders. Sometimes
Mhm.
I even set alarms for different things throughout the day that is not on, it's on my calendar, but I also set an alarm just as a backup.
Oh, yeah.
What other, I'm a believer in apps, as you know, my dissertation
Yes.
was on mobile learning. What other apps should a college student have? First of all,
Uh,
just to survive in college,
just to
but
survive.
especially to survive in this online environment. What other apps would you recommend?
Um,
And I'm not talking about dating apps.
Very funny. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I was gonna say we mentioned, Google Calendar, but if you have a Microsoft account, you can use Outlook to download your calendar and have your emails as well on your phone. There's various apps. Many colleges put out there, hey, download this app to help you. Um, if colleges uses Blackboard, they have an app, for their LMS that you can download. Even for your books, certain book companies have apps to go ahead with your ebooks. And I'm not plugging or I'm not selling anything, but I know the vendor that we use at Delgado, um, I'm not sure if they have an app, but even with their website, most websites today are what they call responsive, where no matter if you're on your laptop, your desktop, or on your phone, they got all look the same. This one particular book company that we use, and people may not like ebooks, but for our department, majority of our books is through this one vendor. And if your university or community college or college, whatever, offers this, I would highly recommend that you take advantage from a college student aspect. We have for our books, for the technology division, you can buy for a 2-year subscription, and all our books is located on that platform. So if you take any of those classes, you don't have to worry about buying books year in, semester out. You pay that one flat rate, and you have access to all those accounts for 24 months, all those books. You can't beat that. I mean, I know I'm going back to the Stone Age when I was in college, and I started off as an accounting major. My accounting books was at least $200 to $300 a piece. Even when I switched my major and my minor to computer science accounting, computer science books was just as expensive. But if I can spend $300 for 2 semesters and I don't have to worry about buying a book for my major classes, that's a big help. So, if your college offers that, take advantage of it. Because that, as a former college student, Dr. B, I have what? Undergrad? No, 2 undergrads and 2 masters. Think about the cost of books during that time. And those prices have gone up tremendously since then. So take advantage. Most colleges will list on their website, or they'll tell you during orientation, if you're a first-time student, what apps to use, what to use for, what to look for. Even if you got a Microsoft 365 account, if you're Delgado, if you're a student there, you have Microsoft Office for free as long as you're a student there. Download the app. If you got an iPad, or you got to type a paper on your phone, which I don't recommend, but if you push comes to shove, you have access to all your files that you're saving on OneDrive. Same thing with Google Docs. Anywhere on your phone, your iPad, your laptop, you're saving it to those cloud-based applications. You have access to it anywhere, as long as you know your username and password.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I don't think that a lot of students realize, or they didn't go to that part of orientation, that how many subscriptions they have access to
Mhm.
with their .edu email address. So as
Correct.
long as they're a student, Microsoft Office 365, some of the Adobe Suite, some of the research journals that are out there, like
Sure.
it's so many. I know at Drexel it was literally like pages and pages and pages of subscriptions that we had access to.
I'm glad you said that because many people don't realize if you have a if you're in the city of New Orleans, I can't say for the rest of the state, but if you are a resident of New Orleans and you have a library card, you have access to all kind of databases that you can redo research on. I know we're doing getting kind of far from talking about virtual learning, but this is all part of virtual learning, being able to access stuff without having to go to a specific library to look up stuff. When you and I was in school, they had databases. How we access that? Through microfiche. And everybody say, what the heck is microfiche? People don't even know what a card catalog is today. Because we need to look up something, Google it. But I mean, you're looking at, like you said, with those journals, those databases holds all kind of journals that was written in the past that was uploaded digitally. And those articles help students with their research. Like I said, if you're a first-time student, don't miss out on your orientation. Don't say, oh, this is what we're doing, or that's going to be boring. I'm not going to orientation that day. Take advantage, whether you are in state, you're in city, you're staying at home with your parents, or you're going out of state. Take advantage. Any electronic resources that they offer, take advantage of them, because you don't know when you're going to need them, especially in this environment today. You know, everybody's saying this is the new norm. But virtual learning has been around for at least 20 years. At least 20 years. I'm being pushed to the forefront now from a college level on down because everybody is not used to it. Everybody is not, tech savvy. They're not comfortable with doing things online. Even meetings. How many meetings have you had online? I'm gonna say just about every day now.
Oh yeah, it's been endless. So I'm so glad you mentioned all of those advantages. I mean, everything, that's why my dissertation was on it. Everything that we need is like, everybody has a phone. Everybody has a phone with internet capability. And like you said, this has been around for 20 years. When laptops were a thing, everybody was like, oh, okay, let's get laptops in the classroom. And then we're using laptops the same way we were using paper books. And we've still been doing it that way. And now this has forced people to finally, although we've been here a minute, finally come into the 21st century. So thank you for all of those tips, those thoughts. Go ahead.
And not only that, I'm glad you brought up the internet. If you can't, even if you don't have internet at home, that I know you can't really go sit in a coffee house or go sit outside in McDonald's, but there's places, and if you do research, I know 2 local companies is offering internet for $9.95 a month right now, if you don't have internet service with them right now. Schools in the public schools, I know in Orleans Parish, they offering hotspots. If you don't have internet at home, take advantage of these tools that the schools is providing for you and your children. And I'm not saying use it to play video games on it, use it, for personal. Take advantage of it for your education.
Right.
Take advantage. Don't just let it sit down there or let it go to waste or use it for other things besides school. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of whatever is being given technology-wise. Because, this is a perfect opportunity for everybody to learn and to understand. We all in this together. Yes, Do we want to stay home 24/7? Being from New Orleans, no, we not. We used to going out. We used to eating out. We used to having fun, second lines, parades, etc. But in this right now, in this environment, take advantage of the technology. Take advantage of helping your kids learn. You helping them learn also helps you to learn and get better with things that you don't understand. Technology technology is ever evolving. I know firsthand. I have a hard time keeping up sometimes because things come out so fast. It may be good today, tomorrow is gone. It's just like driving a car, buying a new car. Once you drive it off the lot, it's depreciated from the price that you had that you pay for it. Technology, it used to be what, every 6 months, Dr. B? Now it seems like every 6 minutes something new is coming out that's better than what it was before. So take advantage.
Yes, yes, exactly. So thank you for everything that you have brought to us this evening. Any final thoughts before we exit?
Be patient. Be very patient with virtual learning. Everybody's not a master at doing it. Everybody's not tech savvy. I know this firsthand. Everybody is not tech savvy. Be patient. Work with your teachers. Work with your children. Work with your school. Back in the day, they used to say it takes a village to raise a child. Now we need to help each other raise each other in education and learn so we can make ourselves better.
Yeah, thank you. And then just to like keep driving that home for today's college student, like just take advantage of everything you said here today. I just worry about like taking a semester off and, who knows if we're going to be in the same predicament in the spring and then looking at taking another semester off and then it gets very easy not to go back. So
Right.
thank you for everything you've said. This has been a great segment. I hope that the college students that watch take advantage of the skills and strategies that you brought up today. And you have something else?
No, I said, anytime, Dr. B, you need me, just give me a call.
Thank you. And this concludes this week's segment of Dr. B's Thursday Thought.